Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Materia Prima, the Inquisition Expansion, which is brought to you by Peacock Tabletops. It's for 1 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 90 minutes. Materia Prima places you, the players, in a medieval world where mysticism and science are inseparable in alchemy. In search of the philosopher's stone, recipes must be researched and resources mined. The base game is a competitive and highly immersive game about alchemy and how to create the philosopher's stone. Each alchemist must look for long-lost recipes and research in old libraries of the cities to create the stone. The elements for this must be mined on hexes, which are distributed on the game board. The Inquisition is a new power in which state and religion are united. Its nobles and priests try to gain control over the continent by banishing or destroying alchemy and all its followers once and for all. The Inquisition Expansion enhances the world of Materia Prima and includes a cooperative campaign, which can also be played solo, as well as the possibility to play with 5 or 6 alchemists. So join me as we explore the world of Materia Prima. So first and foremost, if you don't know this game, definitely go check out my original preview covering the basics of what's going on in the competitive version of the game. And this expansion, this Inquisition expansion, is going to require that you have the base game. So there's some elements here of both the new and the old coming together to create this cooperative experience. So that's the main thing we're going to be focusing on in this video, what this cooperative experience looks like and what to expect. One of the key concepts of this game, and you'll see from your player boards that you have a home base. On the home base is a series of elements and how they convert from one to the other. You've got levels 1, 2, and 3. So a lot of this game is about getting those right elements to do what you need across the course of the scenario. And you're gonna need elements because you need to get cards for homunculi, which those little guys are helpers. They're going to aid you across the world. You can only have 3 at any one time, but they do aid you quite a bit. And they give you extra actions basically to go out and mine these different elements that you're going to need. So elements are super important to everything you're doing in this game. And then there's equipment and there's the Philosopher's Stone cards. So all these things are going to come together where you're going to be using those different types of elements to transmute into the cards that you need for your character. So we're set up here for a 4-player cooperative game. We're playing the Prologue, which happens to also be the tutorial for the game. They did a fantastic job with the rulebook, leading you through the first few rounds. So you learn the game on the fly, and I love when rulebooks can do that. So a quick look at the main board. We have a series of tiles that have little hexes on them that you're going to be moving through as you explore this world. You'll see also that there are elements in certain areas of the board. You'll land on those and you can mine them. That's one of the available actions. Just getting those different elements so you can convert them into others or use them for cards and transmuting. So again, I can't stress enough how important those elements are. So also around the side of the board, you'll see a series of cities. Now those are exploded views of the cities you visit on the main board, and there's various things you're gonna be doing in those cities as well. Each player also has their home base, like we said. It shows all those elements and how you convert them. At the bottom, you're gonna see where you'll put different cards that you acquire, and then your main character. Your main character has various stats, as you'd expect. You've got your fight, your defense, how much you can carry, as well as how many actions you can perform. Also, each character has one special ability. Something like you might get a free move, which is really fantastic actually, because every time you move in this game counts as 1 action. So each character also has their soul stone. Now, if all the characters lose their soul stone, then you lose the scenario and you'll have to restart. But soul stones are also crucial because you'll need those to get certain things like the Philosopher's Stone. You'll need them to carry things over from one scenario to the next. And it's very crucial that you keep that in place and protect it through the course of the game. Now, one of the new things for this cooperative game is the Inquisition board. On this board, you'll be tracking several things. You have the Inquisitors that are going to be coming out into the world that you have to deal with. And you've got your alarm cards, which we'll get to. And also the round tracker. Now, you'll see that there's some red numbered areas for the round tracker. And when you hit those different round numbers, it will trigger the side quests or mini missions that you have on the scenario card. So you'll have to have missions completed from towns in order to fulfill the requirements of these particular side quests. And if you don't do it, there's detriments, but if you do, there's great benefits. So the different rounds to be mindful of depending on the length of the game you're playing. You've got 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, which means there's also a level difficulty in this game. You can play easy, normal, or hard. It will determine how many rounds that you're going to be playing. So not only do those side quests dictate what you need, but it's also based on player count, and all of that is on the scenario card. Now, a lot of the things you're doing in this game are very icon specific. There's a handy guide for that leading you through, and even down to what you need to do for the scenario. For this prologue, you just need to arrive at a city and complete a mission. Each of the alchemists, each player will need to do this. Now, the missions are going to be wide and varied. You're going to have things like combat you're going to have to go into, so you might have to beef up your character before you go try to do that mission. Or you might need a certain type of element to complete. Or you might need to sacrifice cards, which you had to acquire, transmute the different elements into. So lots of different things that can happen in these missions as you travel around the world. And each scenario is going to be very different from the last. So the prologue is fairly straightforward and easy, but it does ramp up as you move through the campaign. And it really is a campaign-based game. So you have 3 separate phases for the round when you're playing this cooperative game. First of which is the alarm phase. Now, in the alarm phase, you're going to first move the round tracker. And then if there might be any scenario-specific events, those will take place, but you're going to draw an alarm card. Now, in the center of the card, it'll show hexes like you see out on the board, and you're looking for the icon in the middle. In this case, we're looking for our alchemists, and you're going to be placing an alarm marker in a hex next to them. Now, this is what's interesting, is that if you ever end up with 2 alarms in a particular area, then that's going to prompt an inquisitor to come out, and you'll draw cards, and there's areas at the bottom, and those cards are also drawn based on the number of players in the game and so forth. But you will draw those and they will come into the world, you'll be placing them, it'll show exactly where they need to go and so forth. But this card has a few other things. It'll show like some bonuses for inquisitors that are in play. It'll show initiative order for the different colored bases that the different players are using, and then there's some additional things here based on rewards that you're going to get when you defeat the inquisitors, and you'll roll dice to get those rewards. And then we have the alchemist phase, and this is really kind of the heart of the game. Obviously there's a series of actions here. You've got basic actions, you've got tower actions, and you've got the city actions. Now your basic actions are things like you'd expect: move and mine for those different elements that are out on the board. And also you can drop elements at your hex, or you can exchange elements with a fellow player, but also you can fight. You can go after those inquisitors, and you just have to be in a hex adjacent to them, and you can go into battle with them and so forth to try to take them out and get the rewards that the alarm card calls for. Tower actions, you're going to do things like transmute, where you get equipment or homoculi, add those cards to your player boards. Or you might convert the different elements that you have from level 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Different types of elements that you need for the different cards or whatever you're doing in that particular scenario. Also, you can equip, you can exchange, different things to the tower that you're carrying from your backpack and so forth. You can basically re-equip yourself that way. And arriving in a town or city is going to allow you another type of action. So one of the big things here is research. So as you transmute into these different cards, you're going to need to refill the slots that became available. So you're going to be looking for more philosopher stones, you're going to be looking for more equipment, or more homoculi, so you can get access to more and more things. So researching in a city is one of the actions you can do. Also, you have the ability to buy a tower extension. This is going to give you another ability for the elements that you acquire. It might allow you to transfer one to another. Basically, one element is as good as the other, back and forth. So those will be added to your player boards if you choose to buy one. Also, you can sail. So some of the cities have ports, and you can sail from one to the other, which gives you a nice fast travel around the world. Now, the last phase of the round is for the inquisitors. Now, this only happens if they're actually in play, if they've actually come out on the board. Now, each of the inquisitors is going to show a series of icons on the left, what they're more interested in. They'll go after that particular thing first. It can be the alchemist, it can be the tower, it can be the homoculi. Whatever they're more interested in, they'll go after. So you'll follow that path to follow them around, and you really get to choose what hexes they move into, but they are going for the closest that they can get to. And again, just like you and the homoculi, they have their series of actions that they can do at the bottom of the card, as well as what their different types of defense and attack is. Now, they're not going to be rolling dice for attacks, but they have a standard strength, and it's going to have modifiers as well based on their cards that have come out into play, as well as the alarm cards may have modifiers as well in the top corner. So you'll gather that amount, and that's what their base strength is going to be when they attack. And then you as the players have to roll and defend, and will determine the number of dice that you're going to be using. So it's really that simple. You hope to not be taken down and lose your soul stones in the process, but really you're trying to avoid those Inquisitors, and they really are out to destroy the Alchemists. So those are the basics of gameplay. Again, now every scenario is going to be different. What you're trying to achieve as a team, you are trying to work together. So you may be off to exchange different elements with another player so they can get the items or whatever they may need. Now, to go from one scenario to the next and carry items over, you have to have philosopher stones in order to do that. That's one of the big reasons to collect those philosopher stones. So there's different paths to take as you go after the particular requirements of the mission, but the other way to fail is if you get to the end and it's the Inquisitor's turn and you haven't fulfilled the requirements, then you're going to lose. So again, there's different levels of difficulty determining how many rounds you're going to play. And in the end, you as the Alchemists hope to have succeeded against these Inquisitors. Things really ramp up as they come into play. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here, well, everything in the new expansion has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, if that said, this game has come a long way since the original base game. They've done some nice jobs streamlining the competitive game, but this new cooperative mode that they've come up with has some really neat things going on, and I love cooperative games, so this definitely appeals to me. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.